going to speak in both languages. Voy a hablar en ambos idiomas y darles a todas la bienvenida. Welcome you all to this third session on our vows and Laudato Si. Es la tercera sesión sobre los votos y Laudato Si. Estamos muy agradecidas a las hermanas que han preparado las presentaciones y a todas que están participando. We are most grateful to the three sisters who have done so much work to prepare these sessions, and to everyone who is participating, because I think we have found that the small groups have been just a wonderful way to deepen and enrich what we've heard from the presenters. Los grupos pequeños nos han dado la posibilidad de profundizar y enriquecer todo lo que estamos escuchando en las presentaciones. And so with that little bit, con esto nomás, voy a pedirle a Eva Messina guiarnos en esta reflexión. With that little bit of welcome, I'm going to invite Eva Messina.
Where is right there?
Yes.
Speak sorry.
Sí, Mary, te escucho.
We are going to begin with a prayer song. And Sister Sarah Sanders is going to help me sing this song. And it's called All You Works of God. Next slide.
All you works of God, every mountain, star, and tree, bless the one who shapes your beauty, who has caused you all to be one great song of love and grace, ever ancient, ever new. Raise your voices, all you works of God. Sun and moon, bless your maker.
Stars of heaven,
Chant your praise, showers and dew. Raise up your joyful song. All you works of God, every mountain, star, and tree, bless the one who shapes your beauty, who has caused you all to be one great song of love and grace, ever ancient, ever new. Raise your voices, all you works of God. Winds of God, bless your maker.
cold and winter,
Chant your praise, snowstorms and ice. Raise up your joyful song. All you works of God, every mountain, star, and tree, bless the one who shapes your beauty, who has caused you all to be one great song of love and grace, ever ancient, ever new. Raise your voices, all you works of God.
flying birds,
Bless your maker.
beasts and cattle,
Chant your praise, children at play. Raise up your joyful song. All you works of God, every mountain, star, and tree, bless the one who shapes your beauty, who has caused you all to be one great song of love and grace, ever ancient, ever new. Raise your voices, all you works of God. Raise your voices, all you works of God.
when I started preparing for this, I thought the best thing to do was for me to find a definition of chastity. And this is what I found in the Catechism of the Catholic Church. The integration of sexuality within the person. It includes an apprenticeship of self-mastery. I looked at this and I thought, so what? Next slide. The basic definition of chastity from the Catechism of the Catholic Church is, the vow of chastity. It enables one to give oneself to God alone with undivided attention. It is a great gift that can only be given as God has invited the person to it. It is a gift a person freely chooses to accept. It is not an imposition by the church, but an invitation to a deeper love of God and neighbor. But in the past, you took a vow of chastity, you were set apart, cloistered, as if we had to keep away from people so we could keep our vow of chastity and not be tempted by the world. Next slide. But something happened when we when we came along. We were told to go out into the world. We were told to see, hear, and then our hearts were moved to respond with love. So the vow frees us to love more deeply and broadly. It's being immersed in God's love. It's giving witness to God's love, to actively cooperate with God's loving action in the world. I'd like to think that the vow of chastity frees us. And that we were not to hoard God's love, but that we were to cooperate with God's love, to be God's loving presence in the world, to be the eyes and ears, heart and hands of God's loving action in the world. Next slide. And what we have to think of is God's creative action is not static. All creation is one ohana, the Hawaiian word for family. Humanity was not called to dominate creation, but to participate, cooperate with God's loving, creative action. Next slide. So, our charism urges us to love God and neighbor without distinction. And here, I am proposing neighbor to be all of creation. So instead of just enjoying nature and praising God for its beauty and wonder, let us really open our hearts and participate in the process of creation. Let us connect, really connect with God's action in all of creation. The following are readings taken from the I don't have the from a book called Blessing Prayers. And so I would like you to listen not to the voices of animals and plants, but to even something that more basic, the voice of earth, the voice of air, the voice of water, the voice of fire. So the following will be a reflection. And at each of the readings, we will have a pause, slight pause, for you to take in what you have heard. Let us begin. I am earth. Shape and contour and stability. The rock of the mountain and the loam of the delta. I hold the seeds of life, and I cradle your fuel. Eternally, my platelets inch their way upon the waters until their crushing force begets mighty Alps and Andes. I root your cedars and your crocuses, bed your roads, and anchor your dams. You are born of me. You do not own me. I can lash and whip you and spew forth my power in quakes and volcanoes and avalanches. And still, you violate me. Instead of feeding, I am constrained to poison, for I have become the repository of your deadly waste. You wrench my resources from me and build the weapons of your own self-destruction. But I am not overcome. I serve one higher and stronger and wiser and more caring than you. I have been the soil of your origin, and I will be the place of your final transformation. Next slide, please. The voice of air. To find me, you must cease your endless looking and attune your sensitive hearing, your finest touch. I am air. I filled the sails when your ancestors set forth in search of new life. I drove the mills that ground their grain. Without me, no bird flies, no seed drifts to its new place of germination. I am the warming breath of a mother on the face of her child, and the slender thread that holds someone among the living in CPR. Without me, the fire could do no harm. Do not think you own me. I carry the lovely melodies of your songs, but I can also toss you like a rag doll when it suits me. I can suck you up into my tornado and spit you out like broken toothpicks. Your secure homes are like so many anthills before my hurricane blasts. I course within you. You use me for your curses and your false promises and your idle boasting and posturing. But one day, you will breathe me forth one last time, and I will continue on with my work as a servant of our common master. The voice of fire. Deep in your most primeval sensation, I reside. I am fire, the hearth by which you huddle against the icy darkness of endless night. It is I who am at the source, the sun. My rays beget the life power that cracks the dried seed pod. I call the sprout forth until in an imperceptible heave, it pushes the earth and stretches up to my warmth. I sear your meal ground flour and turn it into food. I penetrate the bud and stretch the grape until it bursts with the juice of life itself. And finally, I become your energy, your passion, your desire, the possibility of your love. Tread gently as you handle me. I am capable of rage. I can be all-consuming. Loose me, and nothing will stand in my way. Misuse me, and my name becomes the cow, Auschwitz, Hiroshima. My radiation can initiate love or cremation, a pulsing heart, or a molten furnace. I am in you. It is you who are the earth or the oven. The voice of water. Your beginnings are in me, in the cushioned sloshing of your mother's womb. I am the water out of which life slithered into the beaches of the land. For thousands of years, and to this day, I lap the shores and tumble over countless falls in breathtaking beauty. I capture all the shades and hues as I glisten in the rainbow, and I quiver like a living pearl on the tip of a leaf. The whole of the thirsting earth cranes its neck to capture a drop of my soothing rain. I teem with life in all the seas of the earth. Oh, but I'm always at work, eating away at your secure coast, wearing away your rich soil, and even your rocks. You seek to tame me, and I become the unbridled flood which sweeps away all in its course. You foul me with your toxins, and I become your grave. And to think that I can be the seat of your baptism. It is out of this stuff and into this world of risk and ambiguity and contradiction that God hurls Jesus, bearing all its possibility and all its tragedy. And it is in this same stuff that he chooses to live out his life in his continuing body, his people, in us. Let us take some time to be in touch with the elements of this ambivalent world, pulling itself apart in the effort to save itself. Let's take some time now to recall experiences, any of your experiences with any of these items of creation: air, water, the earth, fire. am thinking of water that maybe the first time as a child you realize that your mother was bathing you, and that water refreshing your body, cleansing you. That's just one experience. As I continue to think, to ponder about how I could present this vow of chastity, this vow of love, as a blessing to the whole community of the earth, I was just thinking, we need to develop a culture of care and respect for creation. And when I say culture, it is developing a way of living and relating to nature. Love is the driving power in any relationship. And love brings respect, connectiveness, interaction, and communion. So we must not see creation as an object, but a living, breathing entity, one to be treated with dignity and respect. And in any relationship, love, we must nurture it or it dies. And so we know that whenever we have experienced the love, when we are open to the love of God in someone else, it is those moments in which we recognize God's love shared between you and that person. There is a connectiveness. It could be just looking down at a baby in your arms. I had such a moment, my first niece. As a young sister, I couldn't drive, so I held my 5-month niece in the car while my sister drove. As we were approaching the convent, I looked down at this beautiful baby peacefully sleeping in my arms and was overwhelmed with the awesome experience of God's love. And I'm sure you have those experiences. Take a moment just to recall some of them. And often they come unexpectedly. And when we take a deeper look at these moments that God sends us, those are moments when we connect deeply with God's love. Those are the moments when our whole being is caught up in the loving embrace of God through whatever God sends. It might be a wave that sweeps you toward shore, or the eyes of a person in pain that tugs your heart, or a pet that senses your mood and responds in kind. So, in developing a culture of care and respect for creation, I propose that we practice opening our hearts and minds more deeply by taking some moment to connect with that love of God present in the natural world. Go out and touch a tree and open yourself to the love of God coursing through it. See the tree as one with you and enfolded in God's love. And together with the tree, praise God together. You can do this with anything in the world, with water, grass, a plant, the air you breathe, fire, a flower, etc. So all created things are one great family. I also thought, people are always asking for our prayers. They know, and we know, the power of prayer. Prayer is a powerful healing presence. So let us hold in prayer our Mother Earth, air, fire, and water. Let us open our hearts and respond to their cries. Next slide. We just celebrated the feast of St. Francis. He is the saint that is the greatest example of what I'm trying to say here. He looked out at nature and he called his son, brother, moon, sister. He had such a connectedness to nature that they, in turn, the creatures of nature responded to him. They recognized the love of God present in him as he recognized the love of God present in them. Unfortunately, we made him a saint. And in doing so, we kind of set him up above. And then it was like, we had nothing, we can't do that. And we missed the point of Francis's message. That we are intimately connected with all of nature. But today, there is hope. There are movements that's happening in our world today. We see it in the indigenous people who are coming to their own, reclaiming their culture, their spirituality. And the one that I can speak of with some, just a little authority are the Hawaiian people. They observed, nurtured, and cooperated with nature. I was at a gathering of indigenous peoples on the island of Hawaii, that is the Big Island. I was with a group that took a field trip to the volcano and its surrounding forests. At each stop, our guide chanted. In each chant, she greeted the place and its residents, praising them and asking permission for us to enter and be with them. We spent time at each place experiencing nature, using all our senses, opening ourselves to the steam vents, the lava steam vents, the forest floor, the plants and trees, the bird sounds, the breeze rustling through those trees, the leaves of trees. The Hawaiians never hoarded. They took from the land only what they needed for the day. If a man needed 5 fishes to feed his family, he went out to the ocean, asked permission to fish, and thanked the ocean for its life-giving gifts. If he caught the fish, the 5 fish, in the first hour, he thanked the ocean and went home. If he didn't catch those fish in the first hour, he stayed out in the ocean until he caught whatever fish he needed. But because of the respect of all created things, they observed how these lived and thrived. They went out to the forest. They cleared the underbrush that choked the new growth. They trimmed, they pulled out invasive plants to encourage the native plants to grow. And their powers of observation were awesome. Do you know they developed a whole taxonomy of plant life on the islands, which was at first rejected by the scientists, but since then have proven to be awesome and on point. The Hawaiians' relation to the Aina, the land, is crucial to their survival as a people. And I say as a people because if that relationship is destroyed or is somehow not used, they lose their identity as Hawaiians. And it is out of this relationship with the land, with earth, that they have developed a spirituality, a way of life. The Hawaiian word malama means to care, but its deeper meaning is to care for in an intimate spiritual way. To malama aina, care for the land, means you are inexplicably connected in an intimate and spiritual way. The land is not separate from you, but a part of you. So that to care for it means to care for yourself. I could go on here, but I'm thinking that if you want to know something of those, the love of the land and the relationship of the land to the land, the Hawaii's relationship to the land. The next slide will show you a place that you can go. It's the Hawaii tourism industry, but it really gives you a picture of the culture and that respect that they have for the land. Anyone who comes to Hawaii and goes through that that particular site will not will leave Hawaii with a greater sense and respect for nature. And then there are other organizations that are coming up. The one that I know of, the nuns and nones.org, they're helping indigenous people connect to the land. So they have all kinds of things that are happening. We know also that there are communities that own a lot of land and that they are doing something to connect indigenous people with the land. And they're learning also from the indigenous people that respect and that deep connectedness and spirituality in that culture of caring. So those are the two that I know of. I'm sure you know of more. I'm just beginning, and just like you, I'm just beginning to learn. And we also know that there is a direct connection with our environmental crises and with the poor of this world. So, but unless we make friends with the basic elements of our world, we'll only solve this overwhelming problem with Band-Aid projects. Next slide, please. Some things about the Hawaiian culture you should know. You all have heard of the aloha spirit, and you all have heard us say aloha to you, and we think that is only a greeting, but actually, aloha comes from two Hawaiian words. Alo, in the presence of God, and ha, the breath of life. So, when we say aloha to you, we're greeting you and wishing you that that the presence of God be the breath of your life. Or that the breath, that God be the breath of life be with you. Malama aina, care for the land, means that you are inexplicably tied to the land. This land is not separate from you, but a part of you. So to care for it means to care for yourself. So take some time again to reflect. Next slide, please. As you go on to your small groups, share with each other an experience and encounter you have had with one of the basic elements of creation. And as you look back at that experience, where was God for you? And then secondly, from what the small presentation I've given you, what is moving or bubbling up in you regarding what you have heard and or your relationship with nature, with creation?
Welcome back, everyone. At this time, I'm going to remind you to double check that your language is chosen, please. And we're going to start the large group sharing. And I'm going to remind you, we tried to do this by raising our hands electronically. That is in your menu. On computers, it's the bottom of your screen. On tablets, it's generally the upper right or left-hand corner.
Mary, no te escucho tu micrófono, por favor.
You are looking for the reaction button. When you click the reaction button, you want to look for the one that says raise hand in words, not the picture of hands, but it literally says raise hand. Okay, Eva, you're going to have to unmute to get us started.
Okay. I see Joan Golden has her hand raised. And Ann McMullen. So Joni first. Oh, wait, Joni, you have to unmute. Joni, you have to unmute.
It was an accident. I just pressed the button and it went on.
Okay.
Ann McMullen, your hand is raised. Do you want to go next? Ann, you're muted.
Oh, yeah.
The number of catastrophes we continue to have speaks to me every day of reverence for the earth and of trying to live differently. Our signs of the times call me to another whole new attentiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Ingrid, I think you're next, and I'm going to make a general reminder to please speak slowly for translation.
Okay, thank you. I was thinking the same thing that Annie was thinking about all the disasters that we've had in many places, particularly here in California. And there were so many phrases and passages from the reading that I would appreciate having so that I could use them for my reflection in my prayer. That was, yeah, those two things. Thank you so much. It was really beautiful. Very helpful.
The video of this presentation will be on Coronelect Connect. So I can also see if I can add the readings there as well. Teresa?
I just wanted to thank you, Eva, for this very profound presentation of creation. I have been to many presentations, but this one really was quite special. It's something that I need to look over and ponder. And in our group, we were saying that we really were grateful for the way the prayer that presented the beautiful side of the four elements, and then went into what destruction they can heap on us if we do not take care of it. And I think that people, to help people understand that we are the ones causing all of this destruction, I don't think some of them get it. So I will be, thank you very much for just deepening my own thought of creation and how creation is so wonderfully helpful and terribly destructive.
Tony, you need to unmute.
Thank you. Two of the words that Eva used in her presentation are connecting in my mind right now. One was connectedness, and she was using it in talking about our connectedness to nature. But something that happens here in the Bay Area, there's a little wharf where it's not used for boats anymore, but a lot of people who are poor go and fish there.
Mm-hmm.
And it strikes me that the water in our bay has a lot of mercury in it.
Oh.
Which gets into the fish and isn't healthy for us. And so the thing I was aware of is our use of the bay we have to remember it's connected to the people. You know, our use of the bay, our polluting of the bay harms people who need the bay fish to live. So thank you.
Lynn?
Eva, thank you so much. Lots to ponder. I just love the way that you connected so much to the experiential relationship with Earth. You know, it was visceral. I could feel it. And I really, really, I really appreciated that. And then it made the whole thing about chastity being love, completely open, and it made it so real. And I think the other thing is, having experienced Hawaiian love of the land through the sisters there and the Ohana, you know, you walk the talk. And really, so thank you so much.
Like everything else, everyone else, I'm learning too. And since I've been, preparing for this presentation, I'm beginning to, I learned from Ann McMullen and Judy Molosky about putting a bucket in the shower as I wait for the water to heat up, and then I use it to go take it out to and water my plants. Okay, but there's another thing. I've learned that I don't have to use as much water washing my hands. So I open the faucet. I have a trickle of water, and I wet my hands, and then I put soap on it. And while I'm under the water, trickle of water, I'm washing my hands. As I'm doing that, it's long enough that as the soap lasts and it's got washed off, my hands gets clean. And I use maybe about less than a cup of water washing my hands. And I've been doing that lately because it's just that, and as I do that, it's like I'm thanking the water for being a servant, and this is something God has given us. And how often we take for granted those kinds of things, like breathing air, just taking that in. And so now when I wake up in the morning, I take a breath of air and feel it go through me and hold it, and and it's part of me, and celebrate God, together with the air, together with water. And I've been also blessed to have been missioned on the Big Island, where you have the lava flows. Judy knows what it looks like and how it can be. And I've been on the flows where I could just reach out and really touch the lava, the active, the and feel the heat and just watch the beauty of it and think about the fact that this is alive and is creating. It's added so much property to the Big Island. The Big Island is still growing. So it's those kinds of things. I become more aware, shall I say, because of this preparation. And I hope that you'll take this with you.
Judy?
Yes, aloha. I really want to thank you, Eva, for the prayers, the connections, the way that you put it all together, and starting with music and song. And thank you, Sarah, too. But I never, in all my times of being in Hawaii or being with you all, I never knew that the breakdown of the word aloha is the alo, in the presence of God, and the breath of life. It's so fabulous to use that word when you greet another, but you also when you say goodbye. I didn't ever understand that you can do both, and it's recognizing God in the other, and in the air, and in the breath. And I really do believe that we are, as religious women, contemplatives in action. And I think what you just showed us was to contemplate, to be aware of our surroundings, nature, is really to be a person of faith and a person in love with God. So thank you, Eva, really. Aloha.
Peg?
Thank you, Ava. I really enjoyed all of it. I love how you put it all together. And I was thinking, you gave voice to the four, to the water, to the earth. You had their speaking, and that's so much a part of how you become friends. You have to speak to one another, and you have to listen to one another. And you brought that out, that we will embrace a tree or we will embrace a migrant when we are willing to listen to their voices and to realize that that's what connects us, that God is that connection, but so it is our listening and responding. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I was preparing this, God kept dropping these things in my way. Books that I hadn't seen, took off the shelf because I'm taking, paring down, and then and it opened to the page where you had the voice of earth and all that. And I thought, oh, okay, thank you, God. And that's what I'm using. It's not something that I thought of, but I just, as I said, they were put in my way for me to use. I'm conscious of the time, so we're going over the hour and a half, aren't we, Lauren?
We're just coming up on it, and I was going to wait and see if there was anyone else who wanted to say anything, and then pass it to Mary to wrap it up.
Okay. And we're going to close with a prayer song. Okay. Ooh. Yeah.
Are we hearing something?
Mary, you have to flip back to the Spanish. They can't hear you.
Oh. In our closing, oops, excuse me. Yeah, our closing song prayer is one Ohana, and one Ohana, Ohana. I keep getting muted. Okay, shall we begin, Lauren? Here in the garden of creation, here is the home of life and love. Surrounded by endless blessings, earth below and sky above. All of creation, one Ohana, all of creation sings in you. Many the voices, one great music, part of me and part of you. We are a part of all creation, given the breath of life to share all the glory of our Maker with every person everywhere. All of creation, one Ohana, all of creation sings in you. Many the voices, one great music, part of me and part of you. There is a secret in creation. There is a mystery all around. All the creatures, all that grows here, light and darkness, every sound. All of creation, one Ohana, all of creation sings in you. Many the voices, one great music, part of me and part of you. If you would know and love your Maker, if you would learn the sacred way, treasure every plant and creature, treasure each other every day. All of creation, one Ohana, all of creation sings in you. Many the voices, one great music, part of me and part of you. All those who know and love creation, they shall behold the Maker's hand. Every creature, every person, witness to God's own sacred plan. All of creation, one Ohana, all creation sings in you. Many the voices, one great music, part of me and part of you. Amen.
Thank you, Eva.
Thank you. Thank
That was
you.
wonderful.
Thank you, Eva.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Thank
Eva.
you.
Everyone.
Thank you, Eva.